So if you've seen any of my videos on the channel, chances are you know that I am a huge Legend of Zelda fan, and I've absolutely been counting down the days and the minutes to July 16th for the re-release of Zelda Skyward Sword in HD on the Switch. And in today's video, I want to quickly share some of my initial impressions and hopefully help give you guys some information that can help you decide whether or not to pick up this game. What's up, Nation? If it's your first time on the channel, make sure you join Sunbro Nation by subscribing below, hit the like button on this video if you enjoy it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. Now, as I mentioned, guys, we are talking about Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD today, and my initial impressions on the game, as I'm quite a few hours into it now. I literally could not wait to start playing through this game, so I went ahead and jumped the gun and decided to create an Australian eShop account, which I'm not from Australia, but there are ways to go ahead and do that pretty easily, and I'll let you guys research that on your own if you ever want to get a game a little bit early before the US release, but that's neither here nor there. Regardless, I'm about 3-4 hours into it so far, and there's some really big changes that stuck out to me that I want to talk about. And the first of which, if you guys have watched any of my other previous videos talking about Skyward Sword, the one thing that I did really gripe about on this game, especially on the Wii version, that I really felt was a big flaw almost right out of the gate, was the overexposure on the tutorial part of the game and how long it takes you just to get started in your adventure. And that has definitely been addressed here, as just the simple factor of the NPCs you're talking to being able to fast forward their text has actually made a huge difference in the fact that it doesn't feel like you're being handheld through every last little thing in Skyloft when you were first starting off. So my initial impression on just beginning the game was significantly better. I was able to practice around with the sword and everything, but not have to go through a full lengthy tutorial on how to use it. But the big thing that I do want to talk about in my major initial impressions is I have now played, I would say, about half and half with the controls, and this is the biggest talking point around this game, because I kind of went into it with the mindset of, what, Nintendo's giving us button controls, that's going to be awesome, and I'm definitely going to prefer to play that way. And my, opinion may change as I continue to progress through the game, but I do want to say right now that this game is definitely designed to be a motion game, and it is kind of weird when if you first play with Joy-Cons and then you go to the controller, everything kind of feels a little bit off. It just feels kind of strange that you're mapping things like your sword swing to the right analog, and it's not that I won't eventually get used to that, but you also have to keep in mind now with this whole camera mechanic, that is a big difference and a learning curve in and of itself. So one of the first things that stuck out to me is, one, the Joy-Cons do feel very nice to play through. If you're gonna play this game with motion on Joy-Cons, it's actually a very enjoyable experience, and I do think that they tend to work better than what the Wiimote did with Wii Motion Plus back on the Wii, and I do like that. I do think that the Joy-Cons work very well, and I may continue to play around with Joy-Cons as I continue to go through the game, and not only do it in button mode like I thought I was going to. And I want to share with you guys a big reason on why you may want to just at least experiment with the Joy-Cons is, one, is the camera is actually very important for the game to feel natural and feel like you know what you're doing and where you're going. And it is kind of strange whenever you go to button mode controls that you have to press L1 and then rotate the right analog stick for the camera to move. And again, that's one of those things that I think that as I play longer in button mode, I will just get used to. But there was something about the combination of that, and then like I might be running up a hill and then pressing L1 to try to move my camera, but then if I'm running, I also can't hold down that B button and also move the analog stick on the right side. So there was a couple clunky things that stuck out for me that really does show that this game was originally designed to be played with motion controls, and it's really no different here. It's just that button controls are kind of a workaround for you not to have to be forced into motion. And I do actually like that, because at the end of the day, when I was starting to play about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours in, and I finally decided I'm going to switch it up to go to the controller, and then I almost didn't like the controller as much as I did the Joy-Cons, I still didn't want to swing through the whole adventure. So I'm glad that, I'm not forced to play with Joy-Cons anymore. I do have the option for button controls, but I want to make that a very clear statement on my opinions, is that it's it's not as smooth of a transition to just map motion controls to a button controller like I thought it might have been. Now, I do think Nintendo did a very good job with allowing that option, and what it has to offer is very quality, but at the same time, it doesn't feel supernatural. So I would love to know your guys' thoughts on that, because that was a big one for me that really stuck out to me. I may actually play this game a lot more with the Joy-Cons than I thought I would, and I would not have said that if you've seen all my previous videos. I really went into the mindset of playing this game with button-only controls, and I still think that, you know, there's a chance the button-only controls can grow on me more, and I will want to play the rest of the game in that mode, but there's also a chance that it doesn't. And so I do think that that is a major discussion and topic point, because if you were somebody who wasn't a fan of the motion controls and you just want to play button only, I would still encourage you to at least check out the Joy-Con support and see what you think, because it was more enjoyable than I expected to play on this game with Joy-Cons this time around. And then from there, I do want to talk about how beautiful this game looks. As I know, this game came out over 10 years ago, but on the Wii, it had some good, decent base texture packs, but the resolution was so low, and all the lighting effects and all of the background, just kind of things that make a game pop, were toned down so much because of the limited hardware performance of a console like the Wii, that you really didn't see this game shine. And this game has, when it comes to the visual department, what I call the Wind Waker HD effect, and that is when you take a cell shaded game and it's just got that super cartoony color, almost that next level saturation of color, and you give it a smooth texture, and you create, you know, better lighting effects and better smoke effects and bloom effects and different things like that that are actually in the background of your camera shot, and the game looks incredible. It does not look like a game that was very just, you know, thrown in last minute lazy port. Like, this game actually looks incredible. As I was playing it on my OLED TV, and the colors were just popping out, very bright, very vibrant, and I did get that Wind Waker vibe where I was like, wow, this game has not aged terribly at all. In fact, it looks like it's almost a current gen, if not like current day Zelda game, on par with, you know, maybe not Breath of the Wild quite, but because the world isn't as vast, but I mean, the actual style of the game does look beautiful. And I do think that people who, you know, saw this on the Wii and saw kind of how pixelated and how the lighting effects and everything worked and weren't impressed with it, I do think that this is going to be a game changer for you whenever you actually see it in HD on the Switch, and especially with how important the cutscenes and the story are in this game. As we've talked about many times before, they look more beautiful than ever, and if you get those long lengthy cutscenes that are kind of not so important, or those NPC conversations that are just dragging on, you can skip past that stuff now. So my initial impressions on this game are very positive, and just being a few hours in, I just can't wait to get more into it and actually uncover more items, conquer more dungeons, and go into the lore of this incredible Zelda story. So I want to know from you guys, if you've already picked it up, maybe you've pre-ordered it and you're playing through it today, I would love to know your initial thoughts and impressions as well, and whether or not you think this is truly worth a $60 price tag, as clearly that is what Nintendo will be selling it for the foreseeable future. So please share all your thoughts in the comments down below on how you're going to be playing the game, button controls, maybe motion controls, and if you've maybe actually had your mind changed a little bit when you experimented with both the way that I did, and then also just share with me, you know, where you're at in the game right now and how much you're enjoying it so far. So make sure you do those couple things before you leave the video. Then also go hop over to the community tab, where I will be asking you guys about your initial thoughts and impressions in a poll on Zelda Skyward Sword HD. Thanks so much for watching the video today, everyone. I do truly appreciate you all sticking around until the end. I do at this point in the video want to invite you all one more time to join Sunbro Nation if you haven't done so already. Do so by subscribing below, hit the like button on your way out if you enjoyed it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. That's going to do it for me, guys. I hope you all have a great day. Sunbro Nation, out.